The first thing I heard when I opened the door was laughter, loud, careless, and coming from the living room. For a moment, I thought maybe it was a surprise party. The house smelled like wine and perfume, and voices overlapped in cheerful chaos. Then I heard her voice. My wife's voice. I swear, if I had to marry him again, I wouldn't. Every sound in the room seemed to die after that sentence. The laughter that followed was sharp, cruel, echoing like glass shattering in slow motion. I stood frozen in the doorway, the cold air from outside curling around me as her words sank in. I didn't walk in right away. I just stood there, my hand gripping the doorknob until my knuckles turned white. The conversation inside rolled on, though now I could hear the uncertainty behind the laughter. Someone tried to joke it off. Another poured more wine. My wife, Claire, kept talking. I mean, he's nice enough, she said. But he's boring. Predictable. Sometimes I just want to scream. It felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. I couldn't hear anything else after that. The woman who'd once held my face in her hands and promised forever was now laughing about how she'd never marry me again. I stepped inside, quietly. The warmth of the house felt foreign, almost mocking. My jacket hung heavy on my shoulders, the weight of what I'd brought home pressing against my chest pocket. I hadn't planned to confront her tonight, but fate has a way of stripping away your illusions when you least expect it. When I entered the living room, the laughter stopped. 6 faces turned toward me, Claire, her friends, and a man I didn't recognize sitting too close to her on the couch. His hand was resting casually on the back of her chair. "Oh my God," she stammered, standing quickly. "I thought you were working late." "Yeah," I said, forcing a small smile. "I thought so too." No one spoke. The air between us was thick enough to choke on. I could see the color drain from her face as she tried to find words. "We were just joking," she said finally, her laugh brittle. "It's just a game. We were doing these what-if questions." Her friends nodded quickly, eyes darting toward each other. None of them could meet my gaze. "What if you had to marry your husband again doesn't sound like a game," I said, my voice low. The man beside her stood, tall and smug, brushing imaginary dust off his sleeve. "Hey, don't take it personally, man. It was all in good fun." I looked at him closely, his open shirt collar, the faint trace of cologne, the way his arm had rested around her moments ago. Something in me snapped, but I kept my tone steady. "And you are?" He smirked. "Ryan. A friend." "Right," I said. "A friend." Claire stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Dan, please. Let's not do this here. It's been a long day. Everyone's had too much to drink." I nodded slowly, pretending to agree. "You're right. Maybe I should just get my jacket and let you all enjoy yourselves." Her relief was visible. "Yes," she said quickly. "That's a good idea." I walked over to the coat rack and lifted my jacket. The room had gone dead silent. Every eye followed me as I reached into the inner pocket and pulled out the small black envelope I'd found earlier that afternoon. I set it on the table between the wine glasses. "What's that?" Claire asked, her voice cracking. "Something I found in your car," I said. "You left it under the seat." She didn't move. The others exchanged glances, but no one spoke. I opened the envelope slowly and slid out the contents, 3 printed photos. Each one of her and Ryan. Not just together, but intimate, her head on his shoulder, his hand on her thigh, both laughing like people who had no reason to hide. The gasps came all at once. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Claire's face went pale, her body trembling. "Dan, it's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is," I said quietly. "Because I've been trying all day to think of any explanation that makes this okay." Her voice broke. "It was one night. It didn't mean anything." I laughed, though it came out more like a cough. "That's supposed to make me feel better." Ryan took a step forward. "Maybe you should calm down, man." I turned to him, my eyes burning. "You should probably sit back down before I forget I'm civilized." He hesitated, then did as I said. Claire reached for me, but I stepped back. "You said you were visiting your sister that weekend," I said. You said you needed space to think. And I believed you. My voice cracked on the last word. I defended you. To my family. To myself. She covered her face with her hands. I didn't want to hurt you. It just happened. People don't just happen, Claire, I said. Accidents happen. Car crashes happen. You made choices. For a moment, no one moved. The clock on the wall ticked louder than the sound of anyone breathing. Her friends stared at the floor, shifting uncomfortably, wishing they were anywhere else. Finally, Claire looked up at me, tears streaking down her face. Please. Can we talk about this privately? Why start keeping things private now? I said. Her sobs grew louder. I almost felt pity, almost. But pity doesn't grow in a heart that's been burned clean through. I put the photos back in the envelope and slipped it into my jacket again. I came home tonight because I wanted to surprise you, I said. I got the promotion. The one I've been killing myself for. I was going to tell you over dinner. She froze. Her lips parted, but no words came out. I even stopped to get you something. I reached into the other pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. I set it on the table beside the empty glasses. I thought maybe we could start over. That maybe things were just strained, not broken. Her hand covered her mouth, eyes wide with horror. You wanted a new ring, I said softly. I guess you got one. Just not from me. No one said anything. Not her friends. Not Ryan. The silence stretched until it was unbearable. Finally, I slipped my jacket on and looked at her one last time. You said you'd never marry me again, I said. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Then I turned and walked out. The night air was cold, sharp enough to make my eyes sting, but I didn't stop walking. Behind me, I heard her crying, the sound faint through the walls. For a brief second, I almost turned back, some broken instinct still trying to save what couldn't be saved. But then I remembered her laughter. The kind that came from a place that had already forgotten me. And I kept walking. When I reached the end of the driveway, I took one last look at the house, the soft light spilling from the windows, the echo of voices fading into nothing, and realized the truth I'd been avoiding for months. Sometimes, betrayal doesn't destroy you all at once. It kills you in pieces. One joke, one lie, one photo at a time, until the only thing left to show for your love is the silence that follows.